Evening all, welcome back to Dust, and today we have a non-negative one. Ooh, this is going to take some effort, so if I'm negative at any point, I'll give, I don't know, somebody some ISK somewhere. I managed to make it to 1 billion ISK, by the way. That feels good. That feels really great. Yeah, pointless money that's not going to carry across. Oh well. What can you do? What can you do? This is the way of things. Oh, I was almost negative then. Hang on. It's great. I've got 1 million ISK. Woo! There we go. Oh god, there we go. Let's have some fun. Look at that. The Flaylock comedy generator. There's a slow my words. The Flaylock to me is literally the comedy generator gun of the game, because every so often you'll be running around and you'll be like, fucking, and you're trying to get, come on, go, yeah, I've got you, and then all of a sudden you shoot the dude and he does the splits in midair and then lands on his back with his kind of, I don't know, his head up his ass in a weird kind of ragdollian way, and you sit there and you break out into, you know, you break out into kind of curses of laughter, because that's exactly what this game needed. I think Ragdolls was a great addition to this game. You probably don't even remember, do you, bro, what this game was like without them? I was looking at some old footage, double kill. I was looking at some old footage with from Chromosome and early Uprising, actually. For a few reference pieces that I'm doing, and it was fascinating seeing how you used to just shoot dudes with a Flaylock and then just disappeared. He's like gone. You'd be like, oh, okay, well, that's a bit odd. And I think really that's probably maybe why I kind of got into the Flaylock so much, because when the Flaylock was around for ages, no one used it. Then John McGeechee was using it, and I was like, oh, I'll give it a try then. And I tried it, and it must have been the day that Ragdolls were, no they weren't, I guess, but it was soon, just very quickly before it, because I remember doing a few videos and then Ragdoll came in, and oh my god, the fun that produces is just amazing. Interestingly enough, the plasma cannon doesn't do it. It seems like they've maybe, I don't know, they've by a factor of 10 messed up maybe the severity of the gun, because the Flaylock, if you shoot somebody underneath them, it propels them into the air, as you saw with that little snippet. It just flew in the air, and the Flaylock seems to be very good at that, but the plasma cannon doesn't. If you shoot someone with the plasma cannon like I did then, you see it just kind of, you know, they lift up a little bit then land. So, you know, I would love to appeal to CCP. You know, I know the game's kind of, you know, in its twilight times. I know we're starting to get ready to move it to the care home. You know, with his little bag, his little, you know, Hessian bag, and we're getting ready just to put it into its room, or we can kind of leave it and then, you know, forget about it until then we get the call from the care home that says, I'm really sorry, Mr. and Mrs. whatever your name is here. You know, your auntie or your grandma, that's 514 ear, has now died, and it'll be like, yeah, okay, let's get a funeral together. I mean, that's kind of how a lot of people are with it. There's such disinterest. You know, wherever there was passion and love for the game, now all I see is cynicism. And people like me, oh, do you know how annoying it is to look in the mirror and then have to think that I have to play this game with people like me? Sod that, seriously. So, you know, I'm kind of gutted that they can't do too much. But if there was one thing I would love CCP to do, it would be just for one day, just give me warning, because I'll take a day off work. For one day, just make the game have 20 times or 100 times higher ragdoll effects. So let me explain. As I shoot that dude there, right, basically the round, if it lands anywhere near him, it will just propel him off in a distance. Almost imagine that literally the explosions are almost thermonucleic. So as that guy, I shot him in the chest with the thing, and all he did is he just fell down. Now imagine if I shot him and he just flew across the map. So, you know, imagine somebody running towards us in kind of like a really, you know, crazed charge, suddenly sees 20 bodies flying past them all in a thing. Imagine how much fun that would have been. Oh, I just think things like that. But, you know, I know your events are fun, they're great, they're really well, you know, planned, and they're really great, well coordinated. But just to have an event that has no reward, no difference, just literally ragdoll is ridiculous. So just make it, I don't know, a testing of a new ammunition type for all guns. I don't care. Just make it so that ragdoll was so stupid that if you shot someone, they just propel across the map. Oh, I would have loved to see that. I always had this dream of sort of like bodies showering down, you know, you fire around and then just shower, you know, bodies just shower down. I always had that thought that that'd be good, because again, at the end of the day, this game is based on clones, right? And clones are dispensable pretty much. They're lives. That's how you kind of get around the whole lives thing quote. And that was quite clever when you think about it, because that's actually what gives the game, I guess, a bit of differentiation. So to make life cheap for a clone would have been hilarious. I would loved loved to have seen something like that. But there we go. I don't know really what more they can do. I think CCP are doing great stuff already. The hotfixes are really good. I've got to admit, I'm just quite pleased with how they're going, actually. I think there seems to be quite a lot of effort still going in to balancing, fixing, and I guess leveling the game. But I really do want to know what the wider picture is. But hey, that's another story entirely. So yeah, I think, to be honest, the reality is that Dust did a great job doing what it did, which was moving CCP away from being just a space MMO game. That's really all they've ever done. So with things like World of Darkness being cancelled, and I think with things like Valkyrie kind of really just being an extension of what they're already doing, I think Dust was actually the bravest project they could have done. And I do hold to fact that it is still probably one of the biggest successes they've had, because they did it, they got it out, and they made it good, and it was good for a while, and it had great numbers for a while. Even again, it's never going to be Call of Duty, it's never going to be Battlefield 4, but what it did do is it put PlanetSide 2 to shame, quite honestly. It really did. So when we had 9,000 players at that launch point, PlanetSide 2 okay, it had more servers, but at any given point, I think PlanetSide 2 started with like 20,000-30,000, but that very quickly dropped to like 5. So they've done a great job kind of doing that. But again, it's very difficult to kind of see strategy going on here. But again, I'm not going to be negative, so there we go. I'm not going to talk about that. There we go. I managed to pull it back just at that last minute. I think at the moment the reality is that there's still a great game here to play. I've got to admit, I find I'm playing it slightly less than I did. I think this is just because when you know that there's nothing new coming, when you know that there's nothing exciting and different and challenging, when you kind of just plonked a product and said, right, that's it, that's the game, you kind of play it and then you'll get rid of it. And let me explain why. I think the whole gaming industry seems to have swiveled a little bit on its head, because it used to be you'd buy a product, you go to PC World, you'd buy whatever they had on the shelves, or GameStop, other retailers are available, and you would basically buy whatever they had available, and then you go home, you'd install it, you'd play it, and then you'd think, right, that was a good game, you complete it, or maybe not complete it, but either way, you get your fill of it, then you take it out, you put it back in the case, and you put it on the shelf, and then you look at it for 5 years, and then you sell it to one of these awful sites that basically just remarkets it to the third world. And to be honest, that was the life cycle of a game. Then all of a sudden it became that you buy them online, so therefore you never actually owned the product, you just basically bought the digital version of it that you can do shit with. And then all of a sudden they started doing pre-released games, so half-finished games, or alphas and betas as they now referringly call it. So all of a sudden you're not actually playing a game at all, you're playing somebody's test, you're doing somebody's testing for them, which is exactly what happened with Dust. So they released Dust as a closed beta, then that became open, and to be honest, it was a great game. It was fun, it was interesting, it was a good shooter even back then, but it didn't spark the amazement of many. But what did keep people there was the promise. So this was the promise that the game would do more than it did. So it was, oh my god, imagine one day we're going to be flying fighters around, and oh my god, imagine this, one day we're going to be fighting drones, and oh my god, imagine we're going to have open world sandbox areas. And lo and behold, we never did. And this is becoming a big issue in Kickstarters, is that quite frankly they're selling a dream, and then they're getting the money pretty much that they would get for releasing the finished game anyway, and then they're not finishing the product. And I think they did that with Dust, if I'm honest with you. I think they got the game to a point where it was kind of done, but still missing loads of content, but they released anyway, and they released kind of with a mixture of things, and that was it. And then all of the other things that we were kind of expecting to come, we were told, yep, that's coming, that'll be part of the CPM process, that'll be part of the development process. Oh no, it's not anymore, we're doing Legion. Okay, so Legion, it makes sense because, okay, you probably need to do this, you need to do it on a PC, I kind of get that, okay. And then you find out that, to be honest, it's going to be a new product entirely anyway. It's just using the IP. So to be honest, I kind of have this really weird fear, if I may, that when I go and buy these and I had the same thing with Elite Dangerous, great game, but I hope they finish it because it's still missing a bloody hell of a lot of content. Star Citizen, another great example. Great game, looks amazing. I hope they finish it because at the moment they're selling the game already, so there's actually very little reason to finish it other than them saying they would. Do you know what I mean? I've got to admit, I'm a bit worried about that. And I think, to be honest, everybody, buyer beware, to be honest, is an important word here, because we should be quite worried that they do this with Legion as well. Legion has to be a lot more finished before they dare try and take money from us, before they dare try and hawk it as a finished product, because, to be honest, I think they got away with quite a lot with Dust being, quote, finished product, and it really wasn't. So, I think buyer beware. If you're looking to back Legion, then great. I think if you're looking to get involved with it, then awesome. But I think just understand that this is becoming a trend in the market at the moment, that a lot of gaming companies know that they can just sell you a half-finished product and then kind of just leave it and then walk away and do something else, because there does seem to be a bit of a problem with stamina in the industry. So there we go. Interesting stuff. I did end on a negative one there, but oh well. No ISK for you. Hope you enjoyed that. Post in the comments. I'll be very interested to know what you think about this. And I hope you enjoyed that.